I'm ready.
This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
It's the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for Friday, January 21st. Another bitterly cold kickoff to the weekend here in the Quinte region. We will warm it up with my gutsy picks for the NFL's divisional weekend, and I'm calling it upset weekend. Two favorites, two underdogs are going to win this weekend. Bet on those at your peril. I'll give you those picks coming up later on in the podcast. The province has set down the guidelines for its reopening. January 31st, February 21st, March 14th, the three key dates you need to know. But Charity, we opened up the show this morning with the sad news of the passing of Meatloaf.
Yeah, very sad news and surprising, even though we are aware that he's had health issues in the past. It wasn't that long ago. He collapsed on stage in Edmonton. You had made reference to the fact he had performed here in Belleville at Empire Rockfest, and shortly after had another episode. So we knew he had health issues, but still, and he was 74 years old, but still surprising.
On stage, he only had one gear, and it wasn't slow. There was no halfway with Meatloaf, and so quite a performance. If you were there, it was July 21st, 2011. So with his thoughts on the night, we called Andy Forgey of the Empire Theatre to take us back 11 years ago. Passing of Meatloaf on Thursday really brought us back to July 21st, 2011. Andy, with Empire Square Live, and what an iconic night that must have been.
It was an amazing night, guys. I don't know what to say other than the fact that it was, first of all, the largest crowd that we had ever had, and that he would be the reigning heavyweight champion, no pun intended, for many, many years, for the largest crowd of Empire Rockfest. It was a sweltering hot summer night, the hottest night, I think, on record, and it was perfect for the music of Bat Out of Hell, and to hear songs like Paradise by the Dashboard Light and 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad, and to hear it right here in our hometown on such a hot, steaming night with a gigantic crowd. It was iconic.
Now, as a person, Andy, how was he? Because he's always struck me as such a gentle soul.
Yeah, I only had the opportunity to see him right near the very end of the evening, and he was spent. He certainly puts on quite an athletic show, very physical show, and sometimes he would need a little bit of oxygen as well to help him get through. And when I saw him at the end of the evening, he was spent. He had looked like he had gone 15 rounds with the champ, but he was very sweet and very kind. I told him how much I enjoyed the show, and he stopped for a moment to chat and say, "Thanks, man, I really appreciate that," and made his way to the bus, but very sweet guy who gave it his all and left it all on stage.
Meatloaf passing away on Thursday at the age of 74. Andy Forgey joining us. If you were there, July 21st of 2011 with his show at Empire Square Live. And when you set up shows like that, had Meatloaf always been a target to bring here?
Oh, sure. I mean, when you think about it, Bat Out of Hell, I mean, there's probably only about 20 albums that you can think of over the course of the classic rock era that were in everybody's home. I mean, there are certain albums, I mean, whether it's Tapestry or Rumors or whatever the case might be, Bat Out of Hell, I don't know who didn't have that album in their house within a certain demographic. It was just one of those things, so it was like, yeah, we got to get him, we got to get him for sure. He was one of those ones on the list, along with groups like Boston and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to miss him, that's for sure, but I'm glad he was able to put his fingerprints on Empire Square Live. And now the point is, if he held the record, who was it? Was it Thurgood or Slash? Who set the record after him?
After him, it was our friends from just down the highway, the Glorious Sons, who would eventually take the title away from Meatloaf. And as a matter of fact, this is kind of charming. I was speaking with the lead singer from the Glorious Sons that particular evening, and I told him that they were the new heavyweight champions for Empire Square and Rockfest, and he said, "Well, man, who did we upset? Who did we take the title from?" And I told him it was Meatloaf, and he was absolutely touched. He was really, truly touched. He just thought, "Oh my God," because his mom listened to Meatloaf.
Oh, that's such a great story. Andy, we really appreciate you taking some time this morning. Stay warm, and thank you, and thank Mark Rashad and everybody associated with the Empire Theater and the Empire Square Live for giving us these memories that we can remember today.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks again to Andy, who will literally pick up the phone every time we text him. So thank heavens on that one. And what a good story, because I had thought for sure when I had said George Thorogood or Slash, because when I was there on those nights, it was standing room over shoulder to shoulder, but I wasn't there for Glorious Sons, so I can't imagine how they shoehorned more people in there than that night with Meatloaf. That was amazing.
Well, and again, I was surprised because, yes, Meatloaf is an incredible performer, but for him to have drawn such a crowd and held that title for so long, because there's been some really big names come to Belleville, huge names, but it was Meatloaf that drew the most and held on to it prior to the Glorious Sons. So that just tells you the kind of popularity that he carried. And it's been amazing too to see on social media all the posts and the condolence, the tributes, if you will. I'm seeing covers of Bat Out of Hell everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere. Everyone has that album.
Of course. And that's what Andy said, you can pick 20 of them. And he had talked about, rumors, stuff like Hotel California from the Eagles, of course, all that stuff from that era. And everybody had Bat Out of Hell. And when we played Paradise by the Dashboard Lights as our Friday kickoff song after the 8 o'clock news, our text line just exploded from 40 and 50-something-year-old people who are, right? Because they're like, oh, my gosh. Yeah. We hear it, and it's part of our day-to-day life. We've heard it for decades now. But when he passes and you'll never hear it again live, you will never again hear it again live. And if you had the chance to see it and you hear it on the radio for the first time after that, boy, what a bit of a gut punch that was. And so thanks for sharing all the memories, everybody who were there that night, and your thoughts on Meatloaf. But speaking of Empire Square Live, these are the sorts of things we're hoping we can get back to this summer, when the Premier made the announcement that we're going to start lifting some of the capacity limits and opening up some other businesses. Coming up, date number 1, January 31st.
Yeah, it's going to start a week from Monday, midnight of the 31st. And this is the big one. And I know a lot of people are going to be happy about this. Indoor dining will be able to open again. Yes, with limited capacity, 50%. But right now we're doing the takeout, the delivery, and the drive-through, of course, and doing our takeout shout out, shining a light on the restaurants to help them out. But come January 31st, they will be able to open along with bars and other food and drink places without dance floors, to a limited capacity of 50%. And they're not the only ones. Shopping malls, retailers, including grocery stores and pharmacies, movie theaters will be able to reopen, meeting and event spaces, gyms, so non-spectator areas of sports and recreational fitness facilities will reopen to 50%. Museums, casinos, religious services, all of those places will be able to have people return 50% capacity, but they'll be able to open their doors again. And that's a big thing.
And just like Footloose, there'll be no dancing. Now we're going to stop with the dancing.
No dancing.
There'll be no dancing.
Not quite yet. No.
Omicron spreads faster when we dance. So there'll be none of that. February 21st, the next date, nothing really new opens except they're going to relax some more of the capacity limits. But then by March 14th, not only could we be getting back to full capacity, we may be relaxing some of the masking rules, for example. So by the middle of March, if the numbers continue to go in the direction they are trending, and it's coming from the health experts who are saying it looks like we're on the downslide of Omicron, if we can keep control of it, and again, that's based on hospital numbers, we're hoping to, by the middle of March, we may be able to say that we're on the home stretch of it. So that's all great news. You'll find that story at inquinty.ca this morning. And I know, Charity, you've been working at home with it in your home, and you just want to get out, right? Because you're a part of it now. You just want to get back, and get back here and get back to your life.
We really do, all of us. And I know we're not the only ones. And as you said, as long as we continue to keep doing what we're doing and working together, and these trends continue the way they are, Hopefully we'll get there sooner than later. But yes, really looking forward to returning.
Yeah. And our final thought as we head into the weekend is that if you're a National Football League fan, it's divisional playoffs. They're down to the final 8. So there are 4 games before you get to the conference championship matchups ahead of the Super Bowl, which will be in L.A. still, as far as we know. They haven't moved location, for Sunday, February the 13th. So I'm calling it upset weekend. There are 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday, and the National Football League has done a very good job of ensuring that one favorite and one underdog is going to win on Saturday, one favorite and one underdog is going to win on Sunday, according to this clown.
Okay.
So we're going to begin with the Cincinnati-Tennessee game at 4:30, and there's your first upset of the weekend. Tennessee, the number 1 seed at home, and I think Cincinnati's going to take them down. I think right now Joe Burrow
Didn't they just have a big win?
That was their first playoff win in like 21 or 22 or 30 years. It was ridiculous. Large amount. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're going to take that momentum and their youth, and Tennessee's a little banged up, and I think they're a bit of a paper tiger, and I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati pulls the first upset of the weekend by winning that one. The night game is San Francisco at Green Bay. San Francisco also playing great, but you're in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which is north of us, and we're what temperature right now? And it's a night game, and you're coming from California. And the MVP, Aaron Rodgers, is just sitting there waiting for you. And I think it's going to be tough for San Francisco to win that game. 5.5 points may be a lot, but I still see Green Bay prevailing in that one. And then we get to the 3 o'clock game Sunday afternoon, like I'm going to bet against Tom Brady at home. No. So the favorite in that game, Tampa Bay, will outlast the LA Rams. And then the 4th game is my favorite upset of the weekend. And that is, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to take care of business in Kansas City on Sunday night.
Well, again, the Bills are doing really well right now too, aren't they?
I love the swagger. I love their youth. Not only did they just demolish the Patriots, which makes everybody sit up and take notice when you do that, but Josh Allen is playing at an MVP level. That defense is ridiculous, like a wall. If we all had been inoculated with the Buffalo Bills defense against COVID, it would be over right now. It would be done. So Kansas City, I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes, you got all kinds, and everybody gets their eyes lit up like they never lose at home. Watch and see what Buffalo does to Kansas City on Sunday. So I think Buffalo's going to go on. So we're going to be Cincinnati and Buffalo. Both AFC teams are going to be upsets, and both NFC favorites, Tampa Bay and Green Bay, are going to battle next weekend. Let's see of those 4 how we do on the podcast come Monday.
I can't wait to see how they do.
And just make sure that Wayne isn't jotting it down and running to get a pro line sheet. Like, hang on there. This guy doesn't win as much as he says he does. Hey, you have a great weekend.
No promises.
Here's hoping you start feeling better there with the family, and we'll talk to you on Monday. Stay warm and enjoy your weekend, okay, Charity?
Definitely stay warm. You too.
It's the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for Friday, January 21st. They're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. Podcast here, podcast there. We've got them up by 11 o'clock Eastern Time every day out of Belleville, Ontario, Canada. Stay warm. Warming stations are going to be open. Frigidly cold temperatures for the next couple of days. We'll be back in on Monday with a brand new game rather than a Monday morning mashup on Galaxy of Games. We're going to launch 2022 with a brand new one called the Monday Mystery Year. What you get to solve and prizes to win coming up. It begins on Monday with Mark and Charity Mornings on 95.5 Hits FM. Enjoy your weekend.